right outside, so come on in, don't be shy. We've got ghosts and UFOs. Brace yourself, get ready for the show. Don't be afraid of the dark, the fun's about to start. Nightmares or tales will inspire. Oh, tonight at the Scaredy Campfire. Have you heard tell of a demon next door? Or maybe a cryptid on the lake shore? There's nothing too strange for us here, so if you're ready, stamp out your fear. Don't be afraid of the dark, the fun's about to start. Nightmares or tales will inspire. Tonight at the Scaredy Campfire. Whoa, whoa.
Welcome back, campers, to episode 42 of the Scaredy Campfires. Tonight we peer into a moment of quiet terror, the kind that whispers instead of screams and slips into the room before you notice the door has moved. Tonight's first story is by u/front classic 4097, who has found their home transformed by unexplainable events. What started as faint noises and fleeting disturbances quickly escalated into a series of eerie happenings that no logical explanation could contain. Doors locked against invisible forces, objects moving of their own accord, and shadows lurking just beyond sight. The story explores what happens when the unseen refuses to be ignored. Hi everyone, I'm Brazilian, and I've been looking for a place to vent and talk about the things that have been happening at home. Well, ever since I was a kid, I always felt like my house was different from others. There was something I didn't feel anywhere else, but back then I just thought it was a kid's imagination. The real events only started happening in 2021. It all began when on certain nights I would wake up to strange noises in the kitchen, footsteps and glasses clinking. At first I thought it was just a family member, but the problem was that everyone else was asleep, and by morning the kitchen looked completely normal, like nothing ever happened. It seemed like I was the only one hearing those sounds. Over time, they happened less often, with weeks in between, so I just ignored it. But from here on, it became impossible to pretend nothing was happening. One night, which had actually been pretty calm, I was lying down to sleep. Worth noting that there was a big wooden shelf behind my bed. Seconds after I had laid down, a heavy iron cylinder that sat on top of the shelf fell by itself and nearly hit me in the head. Keep in mind, it was far from the edge, so it was basically impossible for it to just fall. It was really hard to sleep after that. The next day it became normal for personal items to disappear for days and then show up in random places. I've always been very organized, keeping my stuff in the same place, but they'd vanish and reappear in spots we had already checked. Eventually, this started happening less and less until it stopped completely. That is until 2023. Around the middle of the year, the noises came back, and this time, I wasn't the only one noticing them. My dad started paying more attention too. One night around 12:10 a.m. or later, I don't remember exactly, I went to the kitchen to get a glass of water because I couldn't sleep. There I saw a plastic bag moving in a strange way. It was moving from the inside out, like there was a head inside breathing. I stared at it, trying to figure out what was going on. I checked and there was nothing inside the bag. Freaked out, I went back to bed and didn't get up again. A few days later, my dad started coming to the breakfast table angry, saying he kept finding freshly used cigarettes in the backyard. Note, no one in our house smokes. Since he was hearing the noises too, he installed security cameras all around the backyard to catch whoever was doing it. It didn't take long before something else showed up, this time a knife. We checked the security footage and found nothing. No movement, no people, nothing. A knife that wasn't even ours had just appeared in the yard. We asked our neighbors, and it didn't belong to any of them either, so we threw it out, and that seemed to solve things for a while. No more stuff in the yard and no more weird noises in the house until 2025. This year things got worse. Just last month my dad was working on his boat trailer. It was an afternoon and everyone was outside in the backyard. My dad walked away to grab a tool and the trailer suddenly lifted up by itself. The front end floated for a few seconds and then crashed down, making such a loud noise that even the neighbors heard it. My parents were shaken but tried to look for logical explanations instead of jumping to supernatural ones. That same night, I was using my computer when it suddenly started speaking by itself. The voice had no emotion, but didn't sound robotic either. I couldn't understand what it was saying. I checked all tabs, no videos open, and checked the settings and nothing was turned on. I thought it was funny and messaged a friend on Discord about it. That's when the computer spoke again. This time I caught one word: light. That was the only word I understood. I turned off the PC and ran out of the room. The next morning I checked everything again. Nothing had been activated. It was creepy, and for a while I couldn't even face my room properly. Later on, May 23rd, I was getting ready for bed when my little brother called me to the living room to help put his toys away. After we finished, I took his hand to walk him to his room. As we passed through the kitchen, I saw the light switch flip by itself, turning off the lights. It wasn't a power outage or electrical problem. I saw the switch move. We were so scared, we prayed before going to sleep. That really got to me, and I started researching everything I could. I read articles, looked into old cases, and even talked with some friends. Our conclusion: it might be a poltergeist. The events were truly bizarre, but I still had that little bit of skepticism inside. Call me dumb, but I decided to test whatever was behind it. I placed 3 objects inside 3 separate circles, 2 in my room and 1 behind the living room. I asked that if something was there, it should try to communicate by moving an object. The items were a flip-flop, a toy wheel, and an empty plastic cup. I left the house and came back at night. When I got home, I saw that the flip-flop was outside the circle. The cup had been moved in a direction I hadn't placed it in, but the wheel remained untouched. I didn't know if I should tell my parents or try some sort of exorcism on my own. Yeah, I chickened out and kept it all to myself, but in a way, maybe that was the right move, because after that I got a day of peace. No weird stuff happened. Then one night around 11:45 p.m., I even wrote it down. I was alone in the kitchen talking on the phone about all this. The door that leads to the laundry area was locked for over an hour, with the keychain hanging on the lock. Windows were closed. I got distracted on my phone for a second, and when I looked at the door again, the keychain was swinging violently, as if someone had just pushed it. I stood there watching it swing. It was shocking. 15 minutes went by, and it was still moving. While I was standing there in disbelief, I felt this cold creeping into my feet, and just went straight to bed like the coward I am, or as the manual says. After that, I tried a similar test again. Same ideas with the circles, but this time I used a teddy bear, the same toy wheel, and 3 stacked paint jars. When I came home, nothing had moved. Kind of curious, honestly. Now, this next one happened 13 days ago. I was just chilling on my phone in the living room and got up to go to bed. While standing up, I was distracted, texting. When I lifted my head, I saw a water bottle on the second couch next to me lift itself and get thrown to the floor. I froze, and even my 10-year-old sister came to see what happened. I told her what I saw, and she got scared. I calmed her down and eventually went to sleep just fine. And now we get to what for me was the worst. Experiencing it made me think maybe it was already too late. It happened exactly 8 days ago. I was brushing my teeth at around 11 p.m. and decided I'd use the bathroom after finishing. To speed things up, I started closing the door before locking it. Right before it shut, a force stopped it. I was pushing to close it, and something else was pushing from the other side, like it was trying to open it. It felt like another person's arm on the other side. We stayed in that weird back and forth, pushing against each other until it suddenly stopped. I wasn't applying force anymore. I just held the handle and took a moment to gather courage. Finally, I opened the door again, and no one was there. Just the same toy wheel from before, sitting by the door. I left without even doing what I went in there to do, and immediately messaged a friend about what just happened. While I was texting, I felt that weird cold again, but it passed after a few minutes. Of course, the events came back, but I didn't expect it to be so soon. The very next day, I was in the bathroom again, just using the toilet. Nothing weird. When I went to wash my hands, I picked up the soap, scrubbed them, and started rinsing. I was daydreaming a bit and looked over at the shower area. There was a pair of shorts hanging on the top. I thought, damn lol, imagine if the poltergeist pulled that down. As I put my hands under the faucet and turned back, I saw the shorts get pulled down and fall right in front of me. After that, nothing happened until Wednesday. That night, I was in my room standing in front of the desk. On it were 2 socks and a little pink plastic chair. I was doing my final scroll through my phone before bed when I heard something fall. I looked down. The sock and the little chair were on the floor. That scared me enough to go to sleep in the living room instead of staying there. Sleeping was okay, but I could still hear knocking sounds in the kitchen. What seemed to have passed came back again the next day, early Thursday night. I'm not sure if it was an electrical issue or the poltergeist again, but around 7:20 p.m. I was out in the back area. It's big and has 2 light bulbs. The one closest to the kitchen door had a slight flickering issue already. Nothing major, but the furthest one started blinking fast and acting up bad. The closer one also started flickering, but more subtly. I stayed there anyway, and the lights eventually went back to normal on their own. The further one just fixed itself out of nowhere. Hours later, around 10:23 p.m., I was pretending to sleep so I could sneak my phone, confession lol, while faking it. My mum came out of the bathroom. Seconds later, the bathroom light started flickering like crazy too. It kept going for 2 minutes, then stopped. Now, for some context, my dad had said he'd wait for her in the bedroom, but when my mum left the bathroom and went to the room, the door was locked, and my dad was already sleeping. Not wanting to wake him, she decided to sleep on the couch in the living room. In the morning, she told us that during the night, she felt a weight on her chest, something pressing down and stopping her from speaking, though she could still move. I suggested it was sleep paralysis, but she said it happened before she fell asleep. So, while she was still awake on the couch, that feeling came and messed with her breathing, like it was choking her, she said. She prayed in her head and it eventually stopped. She just stayed there and fell asleep afterwards. Anyways, those are the things that have been happening at my house. I'm hoping someone out there might have advice on what to do. Could it really be a poltergeist? To this day, the unsettling presence in their home remains an open question, lingering like a whisper just beyond reach. Some call it a poltergeist, others a restless spirit, but whatever it is, it has marked their lives in ways that defy explanation. Whether skeptic or believer, remember this: sometimes the walls hold secrets, and sometimes those secrets refuse to stay hidden. Stay vigilant, for the unknown may be closer than you think, and it may be watching. Tonight's second story comes from Reddit user u/CelestryPro, who experienced something strange during a quiet night alone at work in the pandemic. What began as a simple reading request quickly turned into a chilling encounter with a presence that shouldn't have been there. When the power flickers and silence grows heavy, sometimes it's more than just your imagination. So here is the story. During COVID, I was part of a bunch of horror groups, and my job had me working out of a small trailer alone all evening. I had been doing solitary reads for group members online for fun to pass the time and got lots of requests. One particular night, it was super slow at work. I got no calls, so I was answering some messages when I got a request for a reading from a woman I really had never had any contact with. She had left a few comments in the group, but that was it. I told her what I needed, but what she sent scared the hell out of me. Celestri is like a palm reading, but you look at the toe shape and length along with the sole lines and blemishes. Well, her soles and toes were as white as polished marble with no color or flaws except her blood red painted toenails. Her soles same, not a single line, wrinkle or blemish. I'd never seen anything like this. I sent a message back telling her I would get to it when I could and planned to ignore it. When the wind outside the trailer went from calm to shaking the trailer instantly, I ended up losing power, and this went on for around 15 minutes. When the power came back on, I was freaked out and decided to see who exactly this lady was. Her profile was gone, message gone. I don't know who or what she was, but she was evil. To this day, the memory lingers like a shadow cast long after the sun has set. The stranger vanished as suddenly as she appeared, leaving behind nothing but a chill and unanswered questions. Some encounters slip away into the void, but their echoes remain, reminding us that some forces are beyond our understandings. And sometimes the most innocent requests can open the door to something far more sinister. Beware what you invite in the night. That closes episode 42, Campers. If the silence around you seems too still, too perfect, don't dismiss it. Stillness has teeth. Until next time, keep your light steady. Something may be waiting for it to flicker.
As the night gets longer and the darkness creeps in, with the eerie silence broken only by whispering wind, come gather round the fire, the flickering flames, and hear the tales of the spooky and the strange. Chill up your back, a shiver up your spine. You'll be haunted by the things that you find. Legends will unfold and stories will be told at the scary campfire, for only